Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Live Music Nation Podcast Festival Edition. Today we are with Troy and Judy. They
Jody.
are from, what is that? Jody.
Jody.
Troy and Jody. Gotcha. Barefoot Acres, correct?
Correct.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Give us a little background on you both, where you grew up, talk a little bit about your family, and talk about your business.
You can say.
Well, we both, I grew up first half of my life in Orlando, Florida. My dad moved us to Connecticut when I was about 12 years old, and grew up in Connecticut. And then since then, I've kind of lived all over the country. I've lived in Missouri, Kansas City, Atlanta, and then here.
I grew up in Connecticut, and that's where Troy and I met. So I moved down to South Carolina about 5 years ago.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, guys, tell us about the business.
So in 2019, we bought a property. It's almost 52 acres. It was really just an investment. We didn't really know what we wanted to do with it. So we both had our own idea of what we wanted for the property. And then we just we merged the two ideas. We came up with an adventure farm. So Troy's passion on the side is the adventure side. So that's the zip lines, the ropes course. We do team building, we do birthday parties, all that fun stuff. On the farm side, we have 4 hoop houses that we're growing in. We have 2 barnyards. We do field trips, we do classes, and then we do our events.
And we're raising pork now.
Yes.
And you're raising pork. Why? Why are you guys doing this? What made you start this?
I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to. It was just supposed to be an investment property that we sat on for 20 years. And she said, hey, let's grow stuff. And I said, sounds like work. Fast forward a couple years, and I'm completely addicted to it. She reminds me that it was her idea.
I wanted to create a space now with, all kids and adults alike, or everybody's glued to their phones. We wanted to create a space where people can come out and enjoy each other. And really, I mean, if you want to go on the ropes course of the zip line, you can. If you don't, you can go through the flower garden. You can take a hike down to the creek. You can visit with the animals. We just kind of wanted to give a place for families to come and just get outside and then just enjoy each other.
And then it grew from that into, hey, let's hold events.
Right. Hey, do y'all have your own kids?
Yeah. We have 7 collectively.
Okay, I just wondered. I was like, man, this is a busy life, and you've got family on top of it. All right, so let's jump into these events. You've got a couple of large events that you hold through the year. Talk about those.
Our first event that we started up was our fall festival, and that came about in 2020. That was a fun year for everybody, and they said, there's all this talk about not trick or treating. So we decided to create a trick-or-treat trail on the farm with vendors and music. We didn't know what to expect. We did it for free. How many people do we have out there?
A lot.
I think we had somewhere around 1,500 people come out. We estimated. It was crazy. So that kind of got us started and excited about doing more events.
Yeah, and then it grew from there. We've hosted some pop-up events that other people have put on, fundraisers. And then like I said, this last year, we did our first Easter egg hunt with a spring market, and we're bringing back the fall festival. We didn't do it last year. We had another big homesteading event that we hosted last year, and we missed it. So we were like, we're doing the fall festival again because it's just such a good time.
Yeah,
the energy that that the events bring is just amazing.
Okay, great. Let's talk. Let's say I have 3 questions that I usually ask, and it's just all sensory because people are listening to this. So what does it look like? What does it smell like, meaning food? What does it sound like, meaning atmosphere, music, activities? Kind of give me those.
Well, we had the first time we did it, we have a 15-acre field that we used for all the vendors and all the trick-or-treat trail. So you have kids running around in costume. We've extended the vendor area. So now we're at, I don't even know, 18, 20 acres that we have to utilize. So we like to set up the vendors so that they're on like a trick or treat trail. We ask them, when you see the kids come in their costumes, just to have something, a little treat for them, to hand out, because they are trick or treating around the farm.
Right, right.
So the energy you can imagine, it's the kids running around, it's the food trucks that we bring in. So you have everything from barbecue to bakers that come and sell their baked goods.
Nothing like the smell of white wine and butter, though. There's a restaurant that comes out and caters events, and they cook stuff just right there on the spot, braising, lamb chops, that kind of thing, and it's just it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Man, you're making me hungry. I just had lunch, and I'm still gonna have to go find some lamb now. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So obviously you guys did a great job explaining your passion behind this and why you're doing it. I think anything with a purpose and a cause is going to succeed because you do it with passion. Talk about the impact on your community.
Oh, the community's great. The community, and last year, like I said, we did not host the fall festival, and we got so many messages and phone calls, and people were asking, are you doing the fall festival? And we're like, no, sorry, we're doing a different event. And they were bummed. So we're like, we got to bring it back. Because I mean, just to see our parking lot, the very first time we had it, we had to extend our parking area 3 times.
3 times. Yep.
That's how many cars kept showing up. We were shocked. We didn't know what to expect. So we're better prepared now. We start off with our large parking lot and then overflow into the smaller one if we need it.
So what's interesting, Jake, is that we kind of, when we went into this, didn't know what our purpose was. We said we wanted to find a way to give back to the community. We've only been doing this a few years. We've only been growing a few years. We've only been doing events a few years. The turnout is amazing. The feedback that we get is amazing. And now we're hoping to this year possibly even get to a point where we have at least a day a week that we're selling produce, but selling produce at a price that you name.
Sure.
Yeah, pay what you can stand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yep.
So
guys, let me ask you this question, because you guys have talked about growth here, and sometimes I get responses back. So I've got a little, just a one-person research team, and they find these events and these festivals for me. And I had a response back today from one of the emails, and it was, hey, Jake, we'd love to do an interview with you, but our festival has grown to the point where it's too big and we don't have the staff to maintain it. And I read that email and I'm like, at first I was just really put off by it. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Like, how do you limit, if what you're doing is good, why would you self-limit? Why would you protect that? Especially if it's a public event and not a private event. Private events, I can understand. You just up your ticket price and you donate that proceed money. But so obviously they're doing something that works because people were coming to it. What would you tell someone who has kind of hit that limit where maybe it's staffing or maybe it's just logistics of the facility, but the growth is there, so the need is there? And so what would you tell? What's your advice to someone, as you guys have learned, as you met certain limits, how did you get past those?
Yeah, if it's a staffing issue, look, growth can be good and it can be bad. Controlled growth is what we try to aim for. But I mean, if it's staffing issues, we all have those. For events, what a great way to get staffing is to get volunteers. And we've worked with a men's addiction recovery group here in the upstate for the last few years, and they have come out and volunteered for us, brought their guys out, which is kind of a win-win for us and them. And then they get donations throughout the day, for their programs, and people get exposure to folks that, you kind of have this little stigma. Oh, they're addicts. Yeah, they're addicts and they're humans just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But in addition to groups, I mean, there's your local high schools, because a lot of the high school kids have to do some type of community service or volunteer hours. We always reach out to one of our local high schools in their ag and their FFA class, since we're a farm, and they're always there to help us out. They're awesome. So definitely reach out. I mean, look for volunteers. And if it's a matter of, a trade-off. So if they are charging, then you obviously don't charge your volunteers. You give them, like, say, hey, can you sign up for either an hour, 2 hours, a half a day, the whole day, however you want to work it. If you get enough volunteers, and if the demand is there, maybe if they're able, spread it out over the weekend, spread it out over 2 days. So, and not everybody's coming on Saturday. Maybe people are coming Friday afternoon, Friday evening, or Saturday or Sunday, whenever. You might want to add a second day in.
And you can ticket events too, even free events. You can ticket those events so that you can control
how many
folks are there at a particular
event. That's good. That was my thought as well. That's perfect. Guys, what are some of your goals for the future? But besides the produce, we've already talked about that. Talk a little bit about some of your growth ideas.
Yeah.
One of my growth ideas, we tried it last year as a new event, and it went okay. So this idea that I really want to see succeed is I want a day of like an all-day kind of music festival with food, like open cooking, maybe a hog roast, or a chef experience. So there is a chef there, he's actually cooking, interacting with him, but it's basically all-day music. Bring in a couple bands. Like I said, we did it last year for the first time. It was a new event. People are always skeptical of a new event. We have to seem to prove yourself, prove the event, and then community gets on board.
It was still fun.
Oh my gosh.
What did we have? 6 bands?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Throughout the day. It was
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
That's
so I'd like to grow that event. That's one of my goals.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Let's talk music for a second. I am in live entertainment. We tour across the U.S. nationally. So I always like to survey, just get a flavor for people. Guys, I want to know what the best concert you've ever been to.
Tom Petty.
Ooh, that was quick.
Yeah, it was the best concert, and it was a long time ago. But he put on an amazing show, and I think it was the best concert I've ever been to.
I think for me, it had to be Rush. I wasn't supposed to go to it. I wasn't allowed to go to it.
Right.
To it.
So right off the bat, it's already good.
Yeah.
We really just showed our age with those bands too.
Well,
yeah, but they're still extremely popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unbelievable.
There's so much great live music. I think it's kind of disappointing of how many people don't get out and see even. We enjoy the up and coming.
Yeah.
Folks.
Right.
There's a lot of folks around here that will do concerts like that, and we just did a farm day at a friend of ours' farm, all day of music with just up and coming artists. So much fun.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Second question, guys. You could bring one musical act, dead or alive. Money's not an issue. Two Barefoot Acres. Who would you bring?
Oof.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I have so many. Geez, I don't even know. I'd go back to like the 90s. I'd bring Def Leppard.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'd bring Def Leppard in. Yeah. My favorite.
Guys, how do people find out more about? Obviously, we've been on your Facebook page. You've got an updated website. Tell people about how to get in touch with you.
Social media is the best way to get in touch with us. Email, but social media through Facebook or Instagram messages, we typically respond really quickly to all those because those pop up immediately on our phone. But email or even call us. We do have our designated work line, so it's
okay.
Or you can visit our website, barefootacressc.com.
That's perfect. All right, man. Thank you so much, Troy, Jody. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jake.
You will.